History is full of grand gestures, whispered vows, and endings that left us aching for what could have been. Some romances soar, but many of the most famous love stories are stitched together with missteps, misreads, and choices that backfired in spectacular ways. Tonight, we dive into history's biggest romance mistakes you didn't know. The kind of flubs that didn't just hurt hearts, they altered the course of nations, dynasties, and destinies. So pull up a chair, because love, like history, is messy, tender, and endlessly surprising. We begin with Cleopatra and Antony, the timeless tango of passion and power. They met in a world where fate wore a crown and love wore armor. Cleopatra's bold charm was more than romance, it was a strategic force. Antony, drawn by her voice and her vision, believed their union could bend the Roman Republic toward a new order. The mistake wasn't the desire but the certainty that desire alone could rewrite politics. They underestimated the cost of independence in a world of legions and legacies. In the end, the battle was lost long before the last sword crossed a line in the sand. The romance burned bright, but it fed a wildfire that consumed more than it saved, leaving a history that reads as both legend and warning. When love becomes a weapon, the battlefield often rewrites the map. Next, Paris and Helen. We know the spark beauty that stopped a war, a chorus of sighs and oaths that echoed through centuries. But the romance here wasn't a simple collision of hearts. It was a misreading of loyalty, a misplacement of trust, and a pivot that pulled entire civilizations into a maelstrom. Helen's decision wasn't only about longing. It was about the price of choosing what you want over what you owe. The result is a story many know by name, but the hidden flaw is rarely named. A romance that refuses to be bound by consequences, allowing desire to outrun duty, letting long. History teaches us that even the most dazzling attraction can become a bridge to what you owe to the fragile world around you. Slide forward to Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, a romance that thundered through a nation. The allure was undeniable: robes of power, a court full of secrets, a king who believed love could rewrite a faith, a future, a family tree. The problem lay not in longing but in the gap between personal hunger and public. Henry's decision to reshape a church, to gamble with sovereignty and legacy, was not merely a political move, it was the slow, delicate balance between affection and authority. The risk in loving too loudly, in letting a single flame threaten a realm, became the true romance tragedy. The story ends not with a kiss, but with consequences that reverberate through monarchies, empires, and the quiet rooms where children dream of different fathers and different futures. Let us turn to Napoleon and Josephine, a pair whose letters crackle with intensity even after centuries. They started with a fire, a mutual hunger for conquest and closeness. The misstep appeared in the distance between their worlds, a widening gulf of ambition, a thirst for triumph that outpaced the tenderness that had first drawn them together. Josephine's heart remained devoted, yet the demands of an expanding empire required distances she could not bridge. Napoleon, for all his genius on the battlefield, misread the power of time, how it tests lovers who must learn to share not only a throne but a horizon. The greatest romance mistake here wasn't a lack of passion. It was a miscalculation of what love can weather and what it must. Different arrangement of priorities. The result is a romance that remains alive in